Hello folks, welcome to Satsuki Bonsai Demystified. I'm Rick Garcia. We're knee-deep into the season for repotting our Satsuki Bonsai, and I felt like this offered an opportunity to revisit a previous topic about the culture of Satsuki Bonsai. And that topic was about bonsai pots. In our first video on appreciating bonsai pots, we focused on the wonderful painted pots by the artist known as Mufu. Today, we're going to focus on a Tokoname legend, Koshosen. He joined the family business right out of high school, and his real name was Kataoka Sadamitsu. He began an apprenticeship with his father, whose artist name was Shosen, and whose real name was Kataoka Akiji. And he was also Yamaaki's founder. Under his father's tutelage, he developed a comprehensive understanding of the ceramics industry while honing his skills as an artist. Eventually, Koshosen pioneered a branch of the business focused on handmade pots, where the Yamaaki brand concentrated on making production pots. Koshosen's creations exemplify the art of making bonsai pots through his meticulous attention to detail and mastery over a wide range of shapes and styles. While his adult professional life intentionally revolved around the creation of bonsai pots, his childhood was saturated with incidental exposure to ceramics by virtue of having a father who founded Yamaaki. Perhaps it was this lifelong association that fueled his preternatural creativity and craftsmanship. I'm a huge admirer of this wonderful artist. After looking at a few examples of Koshosen's work, I'll tell you how I came to know of him and his pots. I had the privilege of meeting Koshosen in February of 2024. Although a year and 2 months have elapsed since that day, it remains just as vivid as if we had met for tea and snacks at his daughter's coffee shop this very morning. And for all the fond memories that linger from that amazing day, two things stand out. Meeting the person exceeded all of my expectations. We've all met people we've admired and walked away somewhat underwhelmed. That was not the case this day. The second thing that stood out is I understood the reason why I was drawn to pots made by Koshosen. He possessed that rare talent to imbue each and every pot he made with his passion and distinct personality while fulfilling the functional and creative objectives for which they were created. His pots seemed to radiate a special something I was unable to identify, but attracted me like the gravitational pull of a black hole. Let's now look at 12 pots I've selected that'll offer a small glimpse of the immense range of size and styles of pots this artist has produced. I chose to begin with this pot because it's so doggone fun. It's modeled after an octopus trap, or takotsubo. Chances are that I'll never put a tree in this pot because it would only match well with a very specific style. But I'm okay with that. From the time I first discovered this pot, I had intended to place it in a conspicuous location where I could simply enjoy viewing it for the uniqueness it offers. The next 10 pots will be loosely presented in order of increasing size. This little guy here is small but mighty. And on a side note, did you know that Koshosen retired from making pots in order to pursue his passion? He absolutely adores playing the bamboo recorder. I don't usually purchase pots from online sources, but when I saw this one I couldn't resist. Constructed from a really good mixed clay, it's the subtle details and gentle curves that distinguish this pot. So much going on in this little container. This prototype for an ashtray arose out of a discussion between my teacher and Koshosen. My teacher is a smoker, no judgment here, and he mentioned how he would like to have a special ashtray. Koshosen responded, although this is thematically similar to the previous pot, I wanted to illustrate the progression from prototype to production. Also, I'm crazy for the contrast between the sumptuous blue glaze of the interior walls and the rich brown color of this amazing clay. Here's a pot that's razor sharp in its presentation. While the upper portion of this pot is characterized by clean lines, the lower band draws the viewer's eye downwards towards its delicate cloud feet. Absolutely phenomenal. I really enjoy the coil pots made by Koshosen and have several in this style. He adorned the interior walls with the same ridges used in Japanese grinding bowls called kushinome. It's neat that he only lightly scored where the drainage holes should be, allowing the owner to use this pot however they chose. With lovely lines and great clay, here is another beautifully proportioned pot. I had sold this to a friend several years ago and instantly regretted it. To my great relief, I was able to trade another pot for this one and return it to my collection. Thank you so much, Ron. When we met at his daughter's cafe, I asked if he cared for his own bonsai, and he responded that yes, he did. In fact, it was his father who taught him how to care for bonsai. Through this, he understood he was creating a new era, and his father impressed upon him the concept of clean, functional design. One point he brought up is that he doesn't necessarily enjoy a pot when it's new. Only after acquiring patina that comes with age can he appreciate the work. It's that change in surface texture and color that he looks forward to. When I asked what he would like bonsai hobbyists to know about the pots he made, he responded with this. It takes a lot of effort and craftsmanship for a single firing. He was completely focused on continuing the traditions established by the previous generation. And he understood deeply that he was but one of many people preserving this craft. Of all the pots in my collection, this one is my favorite. It was baked in a wood-burning kiln, which happens to be Koshosen's favorite firing method. The result of this process yielded that gorgeous, understated green coloration, while giving the interior walls an attractive iridescent sheen. There is so much to appreciate about this pot, and it's the main player in a story I'll be sharing in a moment. However, there's one characteristic I'd like to point out that is particularly meaningful. When he created the indentations in the bottom of the pot, he used his thumb. In doing so, he left his fingerprint. For me, this is incredibly symbolic of his ability to suffuse pots he created with his own personality and style. The presence of his fingerprints creates an emotional bond to the artist himself. Weren't those pots great? While this can only dent the surface of the variety of the pots created by this amazing artist, my hope is that you walk away from this video with an increased appreciation for Koshosen's talent. Now, if you'll indulge me for a couple of minutes, I'd like to share my story of how I came to know of Koshosen and his pots. I first visited my teacher's nursery in Japan in 2004, continuing with multiple visits in each of the next 20 years. The inside of the nursery's main business is lined with shelves packed with pots, lots and lots of pots. I often scanned this collection while eating lunch, when I was working on trees, or just taking breaks from working. Now, one thing to know, this was and is a functioning nursery, and a lot of work takes place within that main building. As a result of all this work, a mighty layer of dust covers anything that sits in place for more than 5 minutes. So, during my first 3 years at the nursery, I found myself drawn to the same 2 dust-covered pots sitting side by side that hadn't changed position during my first years I was studying with my teacher. After viewing them yet again from beneath the shelf upon which they sat, I finally asked my teacher about these pots. With a mischievous smile, he retrieved both pots and a towel in order to wipe away the layers of dust. The first pot that he cleaned was this one right here by Koshosen. I'll be posting another video later highlighting the artist who made the second pot. As he wiped the dust away from this pot, its color and texture emerged, presenting an entirely new dimension to the visual impact of this pot. To this point, I was only able to enjoy its general shape and size. And while carefully cleaning the pot, my teacher related a few stories of his many visits with Koshosen. I was utterly captivated by the moment as the beauty of the pot was revealed, having been relieved of its cloak of dust, and also hearing those personal stories about the man who had made this pot. That moment not only made me a devotee of Koshosen and Yamaaki, but also of the craft of making bonsai pots in general. Needless to say, I purchased both pots instantly. That's it. I truly hope you've enjoyed this presentation of select pots made by the amazing artist Koshosen. And if you've enjoyed what you've just seen, please click the thumbs up icon and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.